In the 1960s, the Horn of Africa was a region in flux, with new nations rising from colonial rule. Somalia, newly independent, was driven by pan-Somali nationalism and the dream of uniting all Somali-speaking peoples. This ambition made Somalia a natural ally for others seeking self-determination, especially the Eritreans who were fighting Ethiopian annexation. Both nations saw Ethiopia as their main adversary, forging a bond rooted in shared struggle and a common enemy. The Eritrean Liberation Front found support in Somalia, which offered sanctuary, training, and diplomatic backing. Shared Islamic faith and cultural ties further cemented this alliance, transcending Cold War politics. Under Siad Barre, Somalia's support for Eritrean rebels became more concrete, aligning strategic interests with genuine solidarity. By aiding Eritrea, Somalia hoped to weaken Ethiopia and advance its own regional ambitions. This partnership was felt on the ground, in training camps, on battlefields, and in the personal bonds formed between fighters. It was a marriage of strategy and sentiment, setting the stage for a clandestine alliance that would shape the region's destiny. But as history would soon show, even the strongest alliances can be tested by shifting ambitions and the harsh realities of war. Somalia's support for Eritrean rebels was extensive but shrouded in secrecy. Mogadishu became a hub for Eritrean leaders, offering them sanctuary and a platform for international advocacy. The Somali government funneled weapons, supplies, and, crucially, opened its military training camps to Eritrean recruits. Young Eritreans learned guerrilla tactics from Somali officers, returning home as effective fighters. Somali passports granted Eritrean leaders global mobility and legitimacy. This support forged deep bonds, personal and political, between the two movements. For Eritreans, Somalia was the steadfast ally who stood by them when few others would. The alliance created a powerful narrative of brotherhood and mutual sacrifice. Yet, as the political landscape shifted, the foundations of this friendship would soon be tested. The alliance, once unbreakable, was about to face its greatest challenge. The ambitions that united them would soon drive them apart. In 1977, Siad Barre launched a full-scale invasion of Ethiopia's Ogaden region, aiming to realize his vision of Greater Somalia. The Somali army, initially successful, soon faced a reversal as the Soviet Union switched support to Ethiopia, bringing in massive aid and Cuban troops. The Eritrean Liberation Fronts faced a dilemma: support Somalia's war or focus on their own independence struggle. The EPLF chose to condemn the Somali invasion, arguing it was a war of conquest, not liberation, and insisted colonial borders be respected. This shocked and angered the Somali government, who expected Eritrean support. The EPLF's decision was strategic. They saw the dangers of redrawing borders by force and recognized Somalia's impending defeat. The trust built over years of cooperation was shattered. Somalia felt betrayed. The brotherhood forged in anti-colonial struggle was broken by the realities of geopolitics. The alliance that once seemed unbreakable now lay in ruins. The Ogaden War had exposed the limits of solidarity in the face of national interests. From this point, the two movements would follow separate, often conflicting paths. The Horn of Africa's alliances had proven as fragile as the shifting sands. The Ogaden War's aftermath was swift and severe. Siad Barre cut off all support to Eritrean rebels. Mogadishu became hostile territory. The sense of betrayal in Somalia was deep, and the once warm relationship turned cold. The EPLF, though hurt by the loss, had grown self-reliant and continued its fight against Ethiopia. Somalia, humiliated and weakened, spiraled into economic decline and internal dissent. The dream of Greater Somalia died, replaced by a struggle for domestic survival. The 1980s saw Eritrea marching toward independence while Somalia descended into chaos. The two former allies were now on opposite trajectories, one rising, the other collapsing. The memory of their alliance faded, overshadowed by new realities. The Horn of Africa became a maze of shifting alliances, where yesterday's friend was today's enemy. The solidarity of the past was now a distant memory. The region's future would be shaped by new ambitions and deeper divisions. 1991 marked a turning point for both nations. Eritrea achieved independence after a 30-year war, celebrating victory and nationhood. Somalia, meanwhile, collapsed into civil war as Siad Barre was overthrown and the state disintegrated. Government institutions vanished, replaced by warlords and chaos. Eritrea, under Isaias Afwerki, looked on Somalia's collapse as a cautionary tale, a warning against internal division. The old solidarity was gone. Eritrea focused on nation-building, while Somalia became the region's failed state. The relationship was now defined by stark inequality. Eritrea stable, Somalia in ruins. During the 1990s, contact was minimal. Somalia had no central government, and Eritrea was preoccupied with its own challenges. The memory of their alliance lingered only as a historical footnote. The brotherhood of the past was replaced by indifference and mutual wariness. Each nation faced its own destiny, shaped by the choices and betrayals of the past. The Horn of Africa's landscape had been irrevocably changed. In the 2000s, Somalia's chaos deepened with the rise of the Islamic Courts Union, alarming Ethiopia. Ethiopia invaded Somalia in 2006, toppling the ICU but sparking a violent insurgency led by Al-Shabaab. Eritrea, seeking to weaken Ethiopia, was accused by the UN of supporting Somali insurgents, including Al-Shabaab, with weapons and training. Eritrea denied these claims, calling them politically motivated, but detailed UN reports fueled its pariah status. The former liberation hero was now seen as a spoiler, accused of fueling one of Africa's deadliest conflicts. Somalia had become a proxy battlefield for Eritrea and Ethiopia's rivalry. The old alliance was forgotten, replaced by suspicion and international condemnation. Eritrea's reputation shifted from heroic liberator to regional destabilizer. The Horn of Africa's alliances had once again been rewritten by conflict. Accusations of Eritrean support for Al-Shabaab triggered a global backlash. The UN imposed sanctions in 2009, including an arms embargo and asset freezes, isolating Eritrea and damaging its economy. Eritrea portrayed the sanctions as unjust, blaming the US and Ethiopia for orchestrating its isolation. The regime used this narrative to rally its population and justify tight internal control. Sanctions deepened in 2011 after further accusations, targeting Eritrea's mining sector and diaspora attacks. Eritrea's international standing plummeted. It was now seen as a pariah state. The old alliance with Somalia was a distant memory replaced by mutual suspicion. For nearly a decade, Eritrea remained under sanctions and suspicion, locked out of the global community. The cost of proxy war and shifting alliances had been steep. In 2018, Ethiopia's new Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed made peace with Eritrea, ending decades of hostility. The UN lifted sanctions, and Somalia joined Ethiopia and Eritrea in a new tripartite alliance, pledging regional cooperation. For a moment, hope returned. A new era of partnership seemed possible. But controversy soon followed. Reports emerged that thousands of Somali soldiers were secretly sent to Eritrea for training. Families lost contact with their sons, sparking outrage and scandal in Somalia. The situation worsened with the Tigray War, as allegations surfaced that Somali trainees fought in Ethiopia under Eritrean command. Both governments denied the claims, but secrecy fueled suspicion and anger. The alliance, meant to bring peace, became tainted by controversy and mistrust. Old wounds resurfaced, and the promise of a new dawn faded quickly. The region's history of opaque deals and shifting loyalties repeated itself. The Horn of Africa's alliances remained as fragile as ever. By 2025, the Somalia-Eritrea relationship is fraught with complexity and mistrust. The tripartite alliance has crumbled. New Somali leadership is wary of Eritrea. The fate of Somali soldiers trained in Eritrea remains unresolved, fueling public anger. Older Eritreans remember Somalia's support during their independence struggle, but younger Somalis recall only betrayal and suspicion. The narrative of brotherhood now competes with one of manipulation. In the Horn of Africa, alliances are fluid, shaped by leaders' calculations and shifting regional rivalries. The common struggle against Ethiopia once forged a powerful bond, but wars and betrayals broke it. Brief moments of partnership have been overshadowed by conflict and secrecy. The future of their relationship depends on internal stability and regional dynamics. The story of Somalia and Eritrea is a lesson in the impermanence of alliances. In this region, the lines between friend and foe are always being redrawn by the winds of change.